go live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome all of you, all the viewers, occupational therapists, and others for this live panel discussion on easy and occupational therapy. I am Manish Samnani, and I run a center called Soch in Gurgaon. I am the region lead for the Easi project, which is a normative data collection project globally being run by a team of investigators from Thomas Jefferson University to develop a new comprehensive SI assessment tool that would also be very, very cost effective, very easy to implement, would use very, very simple common materials around specific, or maybe few others might use some specific materials, and is also something that would have a global or worldwide norms. So we are here today to discuss what all of us as testers, as a country lead, region lead, have felt, experienced, have undergone a few experiences of ours since some time now, maybe 6 months to a year now, to collect some data for this project. And we are proud to present that we have been successful in collecting, producing some data from the Indian population, despite being a very, very recent and very, very voluntary project. So with me today, and I will request each of them to introduce themselves. With me today is Kamya Narang, who is also a country lead for the Easy India. And we also have Devesha and Ida. And Devesha and Ida happen to be along with all of us. She happens to be an easy tester, one in among a lot more. So I welcome all of you, and I would like to start some discussion. I would request you to introduce yourself, and probably then you can start your answer as well. Kamya, I'll start with you. And what I wanted to know from you is that you are a country lead, not that long back, very recently, and we still you have been able to be very, very active with this kind of work, and you have kind of, I should say, you have been successful in moderating, coordinating, mobilizing people and resources. I would like to know some of your experiences as a country lead in this project after you introduce yourself.
Sure, sir. Hi, everyone. So, I am Kamya Narang. I am a practicing occupational therapist in Delhi. My clinic is First Steps Pediatric Occupational Therapy Clinic. And I am a country lead for this project, Easy, since I think 3 months now. Uh, and I was approached in between this project because of certain reasons. And initially, now starting with the I would just like to highlight a few points of my journey across as Easy Country Lead. So initially, when I was approached, I was quite overwhelmed. I would say because it easy testing is kind of a mammoth task, and we were still in the initial stages of testing only, and many of us would were not able to test quite a few children by that time. So when I joined, I would like to highlight that we had certain data which was there with us, but we needed to collect a lot more than that. So I took up this challenge, I think more so because I myself was an easy tester, and I knew what kinds of problems we had been facing during that time. And due to pandemic also, there were many challenges that we already knew of. So I really wanted our testers from India to overcome those challenges and progress towards this data collection. So Dr. Manish and myself, we really brainstormed, and then we first stage of my journey as a country lead was a lot of planning. So we did plan a lot, and we started the process of new enrollments. Although we had a few testers who were with us at that time, at around October. But we thought that we would be, enrolling new testers so that we can maybe, speed up this process. And many of our, old testers, they were not able to continue testing due to various reasons, and majorly because of this COVID pandemic. So just to speed up the process, this planning part then led to performance. So performance by me, I initially myself, collected the whole Easy kit. I tested the children myself, and I then also video filmed the whole testing process, so that I could show up my new testers, and we could just speed them through that learning phase of what all Easy tests were about. And although this was not asked of the country lead from the global team, it was our initiative. We wanted the testers from India to really, speed up, and that's why we took this. I took this challenge, and we did the filming, we did the training of the testers, and many of the old testers who were, who wanted to just go through the whole thing again, they also joined. And we were really successful with the training, because many of testers were voluntarily, they became really active with this process, and then they started, testing children. And I think we were able to enroll around 42 new testers, which out of which, many of the testers have already collected data for more than 3 kids per tester. I'm saying. And the third phase is the support phase, I would say. So first was the planning, then performing, and now the third phase of my journey is supporting the testers in any way possible. I ask most of the testers to approach me directly with any queries they have regarding the uh, collection of the Easy kit, or maybe the testing part, or even if they need any kind of support with the data entry, which is one of the systems we have for Easy, which is the red cap system. So now I think, from where we were in October, from the data of 22 kids, so today we have around 63 kids data already entered into red cap. So it's almost triple of what we had. But also, there are many testers who are still in the process of entering the data into red cap. So we are hoping for even bigger numbers. Yes. So over to you, sir.
Sure, great, and thank you so much for your to the point, and categorizing the whole process into few steps. Uh, let's start with Ida and Devesha. Ida, Devesha, how did you get introduced to this Easy project? Is one, and what were your initial doubts? Like you when you were kind of you got introduced बिफोर साइनिंग यू वुड हैव थॉट ये मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा मुझे आई थिंक this is not my cup of tea. I don't think this is possible. This is too much, or whatever it might be. So tell us what were your doubts, if you can put it up in 2 words, and how or what support did you get from the country lead, of course, to make sure in the due process to realize that okay, your doubts were really not very deep rooted. Yeah. So one by one, Devesh and Ida, maybe let's start with Ida. If
Yeah,
you could introduce yourself, tell us how did you get introduced to this, and what were your initial doubts about it?
yeah, okay. This is Ida, and I'm a pediatric occupational therapist from Chennai. So I work at a institute called Smriti Healthcare. It's a neurodevelopmental center, and as well as with the hospitals. It's a Sundara Medical Foundation, and I have my own practice as well. So, firstly, I got introduced to this Easy. Um, as like any other forward in a WhatsApp group. So so when I saw it, it was like what the one important thing was, it was not there in many groups. So when you keep seeing it in many groups, the whole thing gets diluted. But I think one or two major groups of OT in India, I found it, and the moment it was when I saw that it said global venture, so that's what struck me. And the authors, the names were like, those were the people whom we've read and we've grown as an OT, like Suzanne and Diane and Zoe, and we've so the moment their names are crossed, and it's like it was amazing feeling. What I felt like it's a very rare opportunity as Indian OTs. So whether it is voluntary or whether you have to work for it to make a kit, so it didn't make a difference for me. I was very much, amazed at this opportunity that was given. And another thing was bringing, like the way the Kami had arranged, and bringing people from nook and corner of the country, especially as a globally we were going through a very tough situation ourselves, and through it seeing something, doing something new, that also really made me work towards it. And as Dr. Manish was saying, yeah, it was the test looked so huge and long process. It was like, the first time we sat for the, I think the Zoom online, we were all going like, half as and hug, and Kamya did bring everything together. And though we had the classy, to go for video references, I felt that seeing you do it for our Indian kids, and it was a very personalized approach, and it was very, very well to be appreciated. Though it was already there, it was a very extra effort what he had put, and so it was really a wonderful experience volunteering for this and learning a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Ida, and not Ida. Sorry for that. And two important things that you raised in your input, and very very relevant, I would say. One is about the whole objective here was also about getting in touch and getting connected to the network of people out there, because it's the whole we were discussing 1 hour back. The healthcare itself is not about giving therapy only, it's about networking. And that was my objective of doing this, was more about developing a network of communities working in the same field, which is a global community, and making sure that Indian community doesn't miss out on this thing, and is able to develop a bigger community, a bigger global community. So you relevantly raised the points where you said that there were a lot of big names connected. Yes, of course there are. And what a good opportunity it is to kind of work in a way it's like working with them as colleagues. So I felt it was a wonderful opportunity, and I would encourage even people who may or may not be aware as of now, who all people are connected to the project. Suzanne Smith Rowley, Zoe Melio, Diane Perham, Anita Bundy, Shelley Lane. There are so many names that you see only on the textbooks or journal articles are very much there on the project. And these people are the first generation students of Ayers as well. They are the ones who got directly trained by Ayers, and you can see what age group they are in. And we are fortunate to have some input from the first generation film, Shea McCarthy as well, who developed especially the 3D shapes and all. So yeah, of course that ways. And the second thing, like you said, that there is a dashboard, and this is more for people who haven't yet been connected to the whole concept, that there's a dashboard for training. It's not that there's a verbal training given to you, or it's not that some book is a PDF file is sent to you where you have to read page by page and line by line. It's a very much an experiential training without really the use of hands, person coming to you or you coming going to the person. Really, the training is very much with latest technology and using a dashboard where you actually get a lot of exposure through videos and other things. So you have almost the same hands-on, almost the same effect like in hands-on training, I would say. So it's a wonderful opportunity to also yourself get trained and competent in new tests for SI. And especially in the SI field, there are so many therapists who say, we don't even use any tests because those tests are not even applicable for the autism population or for for population in India. And so or it is difficult, or it is too costly. All those things are already being taken care in the Easy. So let's come to Devesha. Devesha, if you could introduce yourself and let us know how did you
Yourself
get
get trained
introduced.
in it, competent in
How did you get
get
introduced
for SI,
to the
and
concept? And
especially in the SI field.
what were your initial doubts? Did you also thought that this was way too much, way to so to say way above my pay grade, and I don't want to do this, I can't do it? And what support eventually did you get, Devesha?
Uh, Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Devesha Shikerkar. I am working in a pediatric neuro rehab center in Goa Medical College as an occupational therapist right now. I got introduced to this project. I was introduced by my pediatric professor, Dr. Pooja Vajratkar. She received an email saying there is this global research that is happening, and would you like to be a part of this? So she asked me if I would be willing to be a part of the global research, and I thought I am too new to get this much of a huge opportunity. This is a great opportunity, and for me I thought this would be something like once in a lifetime opportunity, which I would get after my 10 or 15 years of clinical experience, or not any sooner, because it's like a global research happening with the best of the people we actually do see only in the textbooks or on the most famous journals. What we read, it's them, plus the region lead being Manish sir himself, whose workshops we have been attending, who has trained us very well for the SI possible. Again, Kamya ma'am, the most senior therapist we had heard of, and working with you all was just too overwhelming for me. So the only thing that came to my mind was, this is a lifetime opportunity, let me just go grab it, because I would be working with all the therapists, like occupational therapists definitely, but even other physiotherapists or anybody from across the country, plus the region, and definitely be in touch globally with one of the other people. And again, it was a great thing to be able to be a part, maybe like a tester for this all global research, to be able to develop the most concise tool for SI. And when it came to me starting to look forward for this, there was time wherein it we got to know that you have to take all the tests, and then you start testing the children after you have your kit ready. So when taking the tests and you're going like test by test and the scoring, I was like, oh my god, this is so much. This I don't think so I'll be ever be able to do on a child, like a typically developing child. Or will the child cooperate with me or not? What if he just says, I don't want to do it in the middle of the test? What am I supposed to do after this? Like, am I supposed to carry out each test? What if I go wrong in scoring? What if the data doesn't reach from my side? Again, all these things were there, but Kamya ma'am was there throughout the time when I was panicking. Be it morning or evening, I used to just put a message for Kamya ma'am, and she used to be like, yes, tell me, Divasha, what is your doubt this time? So I had doubt right from this small to a very huge doubt of, ma'am, how to get 3D shapes, ma'am, how to do this, ma'am, how to do that. And ma'am was like, okay, do this, then do that, and then you will get what you want to know. So Kamya ma'am has been really very patient with me, I would say, by the time I could collect all the data. So yeah, thank you, sir.
Sure, great. I mean, good that you raised those points. It clearly reflects the state of mind that that someone will go through when they sign up for this, and that is the objective of the program today. That we are able to convey to people who are still not part of it, or are in the part of it in terms of only reading, but haven't really gone up to testing of children. We want them to realize that they are not alone, and that this work that we are trying to do is very much feasible and possible. Any comments from you, Kamya, on these things,
I
on
think,
doubts that people have typically, and how do they manage overall?
yes, so initially it does seem like really overwhelming for the testers to take up all the different, 20 tests that we have, to get trained in them, and then to perform those tests on even on typically developing kids, which is our aim right now, to collect the data on typically developing kids. So they were overwhelmed, but I think through the constant support that we were able to provide, and also the Classy dashboard, it is a lot of information is there on the Classy dashboard, and there are many testers who are enrolled already on the dashboard but have not yet proceeded towards testing the kids actually. So yes, this would really encourage all those testers who have done the training to take up the now take up the kids for the actual testing, and contribute towards the data collection as well.
Sure, sure, sure. I'm sure that we all want that OTs should not lose out on this. We are not really asking for a project that doesn't give them something. I think this project has everything to give back to the person who is taking it up. You are getting an access to a world class dashboard. You are getting an access to the manual of the test. You are getting an access to what kind of materials are required. You get an access to what exactly am I supposed to do with those materials in terms of training, which you usually take up as a part of a certification program. And me and Kamya know this very well, because we have spent a huge sums of money on getting tested, getting to learn to test SIPT, and as a part of a certification process. And whether we wanted to do or not, it was a mandatory part of the process. And we had to not just do test children, but we had to read it up, we had to pay the fees for the course, we had to buy the kit, we had to get it imported, and we had to again manage that huge bulky kit in the standardized way that was a part of the tool. And so there were so many hassles, so many other difficulties that we usually face when we even learn a test, that this particular easy actually is giving to us, and that too absolutely free of cost. I mean, there is nothing more that you can ask from a project to give back to you. And also in return, what they're asking for is five neurotypical children, so which should not be a very big ask, so to say, from each one of us, given the fact that ultimately the objective is to collect data of neurotypical children. uh, so, okay, let's come to some of the experiences of Devesha and Ida on uh, the children that were tested by you, and maybe even Kamya can add on. The children were neurotypical. They would have their own. So usually, occupational therapists do not test normal children. If you're normal, you don't need occupational therapy, basically, because you do not have a functional deficit. Please go back, don't come to me. It's like that. But here the thing is absolutely reversed, and we are testing very normal children. In fact, Kamya, myself, we have tested our own children. So let's if you could share some of your experiences, starting with Devesha. I would say, if you could share some of your experiences of testing neurotypical children. What was it like? Was it challenging? Was it a very easy thing? Too easy to complete it quickly? And what was it overall as an experience?
Right, sir. So first thing, as you all said, like we never actually deal with neurotypical children. So that was the first thing. So as an occupational therapist in the pediatric field, if you ask me for children, I have many non-typical children who I could test. But first thing was searching those 5 children who fall in that age category, who would probably be their parents would be willing to send them to us for those many hours of testing. So once that was done, and when I found the kids, I had two siblings who I planned on testing who were falling in that category. So being the curiosity nature that they have in their age group, they both just wanted to know why, like, what does the whole thing stand for? Like, why am I doing this test? Why am I doing that test? Do they pass it? Do they fail it? So if they fail it, does it reach their school as their grades? Like, will I complain to their teachers saying no, they could not solve this puzzle, so they do not get good marks? And there was this competition that both the siblings had amongst them. Like, one day I tested one, and the other day I was testing other. So the other one kept peeping whose test was already done, saying, oh no, you can't do this that way, no, this is not the way it's done, no, you can't do it, I am better than you, Arey, you don't know this one. So there was that thing, and then every test I used to do, they had a question for me saying, no, if you are asking me to do this, why can't I do it this way? Why would you say that it has to be done this way only? So that was about it. And then the first child who I tested, actually, I thought it's like what it will be on paper. So you give 2 1-hour sessions and then you give half an hour for scoring. The first child I tested was one of my relatives only. So I was confident about her, or had that rapport built with her. Still, it took me 3.5 hours to test her and finish. And by the time it was done, she was just like, am I supposed to do this? What do I get after doing this? Are you giving me a chocolate? Are you giving me chips? What are you giving me after I give this data to you? So that was like, I had to even talk them into doing it for me. And what would they get at the end of doing that for me? Overall experience.
Sure, Ida.
Yeah. So yeah, Devesha, even I had some similar experiences, I would say, because working with typically developing kids is very, very tough because they are smarter than us. And so it was a very tough situation. But what I did was, if they are kids above 7 or 8 years, even younger than that, I explained to them about the need of this test. What are we actually doing? And them being a part of this global venture, I explained to them the whole process. You're there to be a part of collecting the normative data, what typically kids do. And after that, we are going to compare it with children with special needs. So you being a part of this uh, tool, development of this tool is a is going to be a huge experience for you, and you're volunteering yourself for such a noble cause, so that we'll be able to compare your scores. And I explained to them, to a 9-year-old, I said, like, if there's another 9-year-old girl with some special needs who has difficulty in schooling, we'll be comparing your scores with that of that girl, so that we'll know where she's lacking. So just giving them the importance of what they are a part of, why they need to volunteer. So that really, brought in that emotional connection, and making them understand what they do. And of course, chips and chocolates, it went more than that with me. Like, I had to, like, have a gift wrapped in the corner of the room, so that at the end of it you will get so that. And I definitely, and doing it for the first child, as Devesha said, is always tough. You think it's going to be easy, and especially when you ask them to imitate your actions, copying, like, you need to be so sure, and kids can pull your leg saying, what are you trying to, what do you achieve by this? And so things like that. But I think making them also understand, like, how we felt being a part of this global venture, the importance of it, making the children also, because I think they're also very key contributors to this. So that was one key thing which was which I experienced. And definitely working with typically developing kids, another thing is we tend to compare with the children with needs. and how easily these kids pick up, and we able to appreciate function, and we're always there to pick up, what they're not able to do and mark it down. That's what we are, we've been trained to do, critically analyze the children's abilities and inabilities. But here, like, most kids were able to perform it so easily, and then we appreciate the amount of the neurofunction typically developing kids have. So, but anyway, at the end of it, one 10-year-old boy who I was having my, interaction with, he was like, after receiving a monster car, which I gave him, he was like, that was like 3 days he had to come for almost 2 hours. And at the end of it, he was like, if something else comes up again, please do, call me for more test. So, so that was a very nice experience. And I think we should thank, the people who are doing it for this opportunity.
Sure. Before Kamya puts in her input, I just wanted to reiterate 2 points here that you have that I have been able to pick up from your both of you. One is about use of reinforcements. We thought that reinforcements are only for special needs children, but we now know that it is even more important for children. We call it a bribe or call it whatever you want to call it, but it is a reinforcement, and everybody thrives on reinforcement. And the second thing, of course, was about Devesha said about that she picked up children from the extended family and other family members, which kind of answers, a lot of therapists wonder, where will we get these normal children? Why would somebody be keen on joining? Why would my neighbor's child come to me? Will they be agreeing to join for such a thing? Why would they even put in their time into this? And so, having said that, like you said that let's first start with the family, extended family. Look, start writing the names of children whom you call them as family members. I think that itself might solve a lot of problems of where to get those 5 children. So over to Kamya now on the same thing about what was your experiences of testing normal children.
I think I also had similar experiences. My first child was my own child. He 10-year-old boy. So it was, I would say, with elder kids, it's a bit on the easier side because they tend to perform tests quickly. Although with him also, it took me, because he was my first kid which I was testing. So it took me around 3.5 hours. But with my second, third, fourth kid, it became easier. It was easier on the my part to perform the tests the way they are, in certain order, and I was able to achieve that. And then with the younger kids, I think it is more fun to watch them do certain of the tests, especially with the facial position tests. They were just laughing at me making faces, but I was like, you have to be serious, and now we have to do it. And then again, bribing came in, so I had kept gems and chocolates and whatnot next to my table. You do this test, you get this. So that's how it went. And in fact, as you said, I started in my with my own kids. Then I asked my cousins kids to come over. I also approached my society kids, because we need so at my clinic there are three of us, the testers. We are three of us. So I arranged both the siblings come over to the clinic, and then one was tested by me, one was tested by my other therapist. So it was a fun experience overall. And I hope I'll be testing a few more in the days to come, because we have now the deadline getting extended. And yeah, so over to you, sir.
Sure. Having said that about the extended deadline, I wanted to share with all the viewers, all those therapists who initially, even applicable to all of us, we initially thought that it's very short deadline and we will not be able to meet it. And we somehow kind of started gearing up everyone to, do quickly, do as fast as you can, do it because nothing more beyond 31st December. However, we are happy to announce that the deadline has got extended and we have time to collect data, which also means that it is an opportunity for all those who get to introduce to Easi only recently, or maybe a few days back, or maybe only by this program, that they could actually now come forward and sign up for it and they can start their learning process to do it now. It is okay to start now. It is okay to be able to, if you're saying that I'm hearing the word easy for the first time today, you are not late. You can still join in, you can still sign up, you can still contact Kamya or me, and we will be happy to help you throughout the process to ensure that you are not feeling that this is too overwhelming or too much of a work along with my usual work. We all of us have been there working after reopenings and other things. We have been able to manage with the usual work and this one as well. I think we have already talked about a lot of benefits during the course of this conversation. We talked about how it is a very win-win situation for us as therapist community. We look forward to all of you who are listening or might watch this live program later on their news feed to come forward and join us. We are very happy to welcome you on board for Easi. You will get an access to the Classy dashboard as well, where you would get training, you will get the list of materials, you will get some ongoing back and forth kind of a help and support from the country lead. Having said that, I have one last question, and that is all about what do I get from all this. And I know, and I have talked about it, and Kamya has talked about it, but let me ask Ida and Devesha, as testers, this project is voluntary. This project does not lead to any gain of monetary or any other gain, if you might say. What made you, or what is it that made you click that yes, I would like to sign up for a voluntary project? And what has been your afterwards when you completed testing 5 children? What is it that you feel that you have achieved being a part of Easi? So why did you sign up a voluntary project, and what did you think you actually achieved, whether or not you actually would have thought about it initially? But do you now feel that you have achieved something having tested 5 children? And even Kamya can give in some input about that. Let's start with Ida. What
Yeah,
did you achieve out of this? Yes.
yeah, like as I was telling earlier, like though it is a voluntary one, it's much more than that. So like as we all been putting, it's a very rare opportunity. That was one thing. And after getting into it, as we keep doing the test, like the sensory processing, as we all know, is such a it's such a wide spectrum which we cover. And um, and after that, as I treat children, I can easily pick up those small details which are mentioned in our test. Like when I treat an LD child, or in my usual regular clinical practice, like we can we can use bits and pieces of these tests in our daily day to day practice. So that's something which was which I never thought will happen. It was all about the tool, and it's a bigger picture. Okay, once the tool is done and it's standardized and they do it, and then you get a big manual out of it, and that's a long process. It's like another 1 or 2 years down the line. But not, definitely not. Having acquired so much of knowledge about every individual, even small thing like auditory localization, which we don't consider that much in our, it's all about tactile and proprioceptive and vestibular, which we always concentrate on. But these simple things and sensory sensitivity, those tests which can be easily incorporated as individual tests in our day-to-day practice, that was something which I never thought which will be of use to me. Even now, even day to day, I can use it in my daily practice. That is something that was a very huge take home for me, during the process itself. And also being connected, not with a global thing, even here, I think as Indian therapists, like I think this is the first time we are doing something like as far as my knowledge goes, coming together to do something of this sort. and we will be getting a data for our country also, and that is also something very huge. So to be a part of it, I think we are in the making of a history, and it's a history in the making, and to be a part of it is really amazing and wonderful. Thank you.
Devesha, Devesha, please.
Yeah, so as Aida said, first it was a lifetime opportunity that made me volunteer for it. And again, secondary, as it could be history, like we could be creating a global tool which could tell us the whole about sensory integration and how it works in normal, typically developing children, and how it should otherwise be working in children that we tackle with. That was another reason for me taking it up voluntary. And actually, when I did take it up, I did not know what, like how the tests go or what exactly would I be learning out of it. But when I finished taking the whole tests and did testing of the children, now I exactly know how the neuro typical child is behaving in the age from 3 to 12. What are the things that they should be sensory or function wise be able to carry out, and what are the functions that we are able to carry out for them as a therapist otherwise. So this was my gain out of it. And of course, being a part of global research is something I would say to be really overwhelmed and to be proud about myself, that I contributed somewhere down the lines to help develop this tool, which will whole and soul tell us about how the whole sensory integration goes in each of the senses. Otherwise, it's always like one tool lacks this or the other tool lacks this, but this tool covers all the senses and in the most what you say detail that is possible. So getting to learn this, now I exactly know how the whole sensory integration actually works. So that is, I think, the biggest thing that I could get back from this.
Kamya, something from you about what did you achieve beyond being into a leadership role in the project? When you test like a tester, from the tester role, testing 5 children, what is it that you feel that you achieved out of the whole process?
So I think I would like to say here that I know the SIP tests because of my training in sensory integration therapy, but getting the easy test kits ready for ourselves to be used, throughout whenever it is needed, and that's one big thing. I have all the material, and it's a comprehensive kit with not just one or two sensory systems, but mostly all of them being covered. So I think that's one achievement that we all have. All the easy testers have their kits ready by their side to be used in our clinical practice every day. And other than that, yes, I think the whole experience of you know uh, me being a country lead, I got connected to so many testers throughout India, and those connections also really are one of the I would say a positive that I had from this whole experience. And surely we are gonna get more people on board after, maybe once they see this program of ours. So yeah.
Sure. Having said that, and a lovely last liner from you, Kamya, that let's hope and believe that this program will actually lead to what we are trying to achieve is a network of people in the international community. But first, let's achieve a network of people in the Indian community itself,
Yeah.
and let this initiative be one such initiative which goes beyond being a part of a WhatsApp group and actually does something for the profession, for our own learning, for our professional development, and also contributing to development of an international tool. So let there be a history created. Let our names be there in the index of a tool, saying that we contributed in developing a tool, and for many more generations to come. Let those names be there, and we all of us are sure to be there, but we want many more to come and join us, many more to have the same benefit, have the same privilege, as we all are. So having said that, thank you all of you, and have a nice Sunday evening. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.